Gozaima Shredheads, and welcome to Questions and Comments 13, the best Q&A format on the entire internet. And welcome. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below in the comments. And happy 2022, an awesome year. We're gonna make it the best year ever. It's gonna be better than 2021, better than 2005. We're gonna make it this year. Okay, the first comment comes from Paul Henderson, and he said, thanks for mentioning my comment again. Just took a look at your video chapters, and when I saw there's another debate on the Marshall MG series that made me smile again. I still find it crappy, however. Probably it's the first amp I played on. One of my schoolmates owned it because the overdrive is way too fizzy to dial in, as you mentioned. Clean channel is okay though. Some people despise that twang reverb, but if I had to use, say, any head amp just as a preamp, then I must say I've bought a Kustom Quad 100 HD. Heard it's a very underrated brand, designed in US, made in China, and I know John Fogerty from CCR used it too. Kustom used to be better than Fender in the 60s and 70s, had some technology head start. Solid state with 7 effects built in for $80. Hell yeah, a nice toy for peanuts. At this point, I can't even crank it up past 0.5 out of 10 volume in my apartment. I'll have to attenuate it with my pedal somehow. And the rumor says Kustom is a PV ripoff, same amp designer's Marshall PV Fender maybe. Mine sounds quite plexy. Fender Marshall vintage-ish, even though it's significantly more modern. Sorry for the reading mistakes. I am not the best at reading, especially when I'm trying to make a video. Things just happen. When you hit the record button, things just happen. Anyway, let me talk about custom amps. I've had custom amps in the past. The first custom amp I ever had was a bass amp, and it was really good. It had a nice clean sound to it. And later on I went and bought I think a Kustom 100-watt head as well. I think Dave Simpson owns it, but it was a really good amp head as well. It was solid state. I had to buy it in a pinch because it was the cheapest thing I could get, because my current amp head blew up because I put the effects loop cables into the power section, and you know, it just blew up and it doesn't work anymore no matter how much I tried with it. But that's the that's the problems you get when you're gigging with a band. You get in a rush, and then you start doing things and you screw things up and amps blow up, and you know, mass chaos, nuclear action happens, and you have to buy a cheap amp as soon as possible. And that's why I bought the Kustom 100-watt, and it was a really good amp. For a solid state, it definitely had that solid state sound to it, especially on the distortion channel, but it was overlookable. The thing that I really liked about the Kustoms were it had the clean channel, it had a lot of headroom to it. They were extremely good for pedals, and they just had a real nice clarity to them, and they're extremely reliable. Especially, you know, solid state amps in general, just extremely reliable. When you're gigging, you want something that's not gonna blow up, like I mentioned earlier. You want something that's gonna last the entire gig, because when you're in a band, there's so many problems that go on, especially with things like the PA system or bandmate problems, or you just never know what's gonna happen because it's just constantly changing. But yeah, they were really great amps, and I used to use the Natty TD1 pedal with the Kustom 100-watt head to get that nice hybrid tube sound to it, because this baby has that that tube in it, you know what I mean? It's got that preamp tube in it, and you use the Kustom 100-watt to get the power to push the air, and so you're getting a solid state power amp with the preamp as the tube, and you get that warmth with it, and it's like the best of both worlds. You get reliability, and you get a good somewhat tube sound to it. You're not getting that full tube sound like cranking this or the DSL with the power tube section, but it's really, really good and reliable. And if I were to gig again, I would probably still use a setup like that because it's just the best of both worlds, reliability and great tone. And the next comment comes from Luke Offield, and he said, love the clean intro on this one. And thank you so much. That clean intro, I've been working on my clean playing for the last year because it's probably the most neglected part of my entire playing regime. And I'm trying to get more and more progressions together, and I'm trying to move more towards a better clean type of playing. In my opinion, the most ideal clean playing in my mind is Jimi Hendrix Little Wing style clean playing. Like, that is the epitome of my favorite clean playing. And if I could do something similar to that, I would be extremely happy just with playing clean. And thank you so much for commenting and being here as a regular. Thank you so much. The DD Files, he said, that's a beautiful guitar, man, and thank you so much. This guitar, basically built from scratch. It's just a bunch of eBay parts put together, and it is a Fender though, a Fender body, Fender neck, and it's mostly a Mexican Fender, so that's why I just call it a Mexican Fender, but it works really, really well. I'm actually thinking about building another guitar. I'm not sure when I'll do it, but I want a white version of this, and then I want to move this pot down here because it's just in the way, and I might just go back to the 3-way Les Paul toggle switch, because wiring this thing is, I don't know who invented this, but they made the wiring so extremely complicated for this for some reason. I looked at the instructions like 9,000 times when I was wiring it, and I tried it 9,000 times in different configurations, and none of them worked. So I just only have neck and bridge, and there's no middle, and it's just overly complicated. Okay, next comment comes from Felix, and this is on the Digitech Whammy pedal review, and he said, yay, I can finally be like my boy Miyavi. If you never heard of Miyavi, he's a big Jrock star, and this is the first time I ever heard about Miyavi, and I looked him up, and he has some great stuff. And I just want to say, if you're into Jrock at all, check it out. I think Japanese music is great. The one thing I really like about Japanese music is that they're really, really good about melody. Like, they're just any Japanese music you listen to, the melodies are always very, very strong, and I really, really enjoy that in music. And yeah, check out Miyavi, he's pretty dang good. And next one comes from CR Guitar on this one thing really makes the EVH wah rip video. And he said, to be honest, I'd like to buy a wah pedal that ripped farts. And yeah, I can see where it comes from. They make that fart pedal. I haven't got it because I don't know why. I should probably get it. I don't know if it's cheap or not. If it is, maybe I will. You know what it's going to be like. Everybody on YouTube has used the fart pedal, but they can make the wah pedal, and I said they can make it your signature wah pedal. But yeah, thanks for the comment, and if you haven't checked out CR Guitar's channel, check it out. He's really he's got an awesome channel, and it's really good. It's all about video game covers, and I'm a huge video game nerd, and I really love listening to this guy play guitar, and he's extremely consistent, and he makes great videos, and he's funny as all hell. Okay, the next one comes from ALP. Hopefully I said your name right. He said, what audio interface and camera did you use on the How Good Is the Gym Root Telly? Okay, for all these videos except for the wall. For all the gear reviews videos, like even now you see, this is the Sony a6400, 1, 2, 3 of these babies. I bought all these babies from bonuses and just stuff, you know, they're expensive cameras, but I bought them all from bonuses, and I'm very grateful to have 3 cameras. I bought them like used on eBay, and they work extremely well, and they do everything I want them to do. And it took me like 2-3 months of watching video reviews on what the perfect camera was for me to get, and I ended up with a Sony a6400, and it's a great camera and I really love it a lot. And what audio interface do I use? I use the M Audio C400 Fast Track. It's kind of old. I don't even think they make it anymore. They make a new version of the Fast Track, the Air, which is probably the same thing, but honestly I need to upgrade it and get something a bit more, well, something that's compatible, because I'm using a Windows 10 PC now, and I was recording and still am recording audio through a Windows 7 computer that can only use that interface, and Windows 10 will not recognize that interface whatsoever, which kind of sucks, because I'm gonna have to upgrade the interface just to use that on the good gaming editing PC that I'm using now. Okay, the next comment comes from 6 Ounce Studios, and he says, and this is on I Tried to Learn Polyphia's Goose in an Hour video. He says, does the sleeve help with pain from playing, like a sport thing? Cool video. I'm sure you will be a big YouTuber if you keep the quality at the same level. Thank you so much. I'm still working on this YouTube thing. It's a definite skill that you learn and learn over time. And you just have to try and fail and figure things out as you go when it comes to YouTube. It's like learning how to play guitar, basically, again. And does the sleeve help with pain from playing? I have no idea. I used that sleeve in those videos because I was transitioning my picking playing, and I was using the sleeve to glide effortlessly across the body with no friction whatsoever, because I was using mainly my arm at the time for picking. But now I've transitioned it where I anchor my arm, Paul Gilbert style. I anchor this part of my guitar, my arm, I'm sorry, I can't speak today. Anchor this part of my arm on the guitar right here, and then I play like this, and you kind of get, it's easier. It's easier. It took a while to get down, but I'm using my wrist a lot more. I find my wrist to be a lot, it sounds better. It's more synchronized. It has more of that Petrucci type of feel to it when you're picking fast. It just took me a long time to get better at wrist picking like that, but it's a work in progress. So we're going with it, man. We're going the Petrucci staccato style with scales and all that. Okay, Keith Nowak says on the should I get a Boss tuner pedal? He says I've had my Boss pedals 15 to 20 years each. They still sound and work exactly as they did new. The construction of Boss pedals are amazing. I completely agree. I've had a bunch of Boss pedals in the past, and they've all been extremely good, and they've all stood the test of time. They're really great pedals. They're built like tanks, man. Like this thing and roaches are gonna be the last things on the earth when the big old nuclear bomb goes off, and I ain't gonna complain. These things freaking rock. They're working pedals. A lot of people talk crap about Boss pedals a lot because they're not boutique enough. Oh my God, they're not like $9 million, then they have the perfect, savory, beautiful sound, but they're working pedal. They work like they sound great, and they work, and they last forever. Why do you need to have the most pristine, best thing ever? I get the point of having guitar tone and having good guitar tone, but there's diminishing returns when it comes to the cost of a pedal. And I feel like once you get to the middle level where you're getting the best cost and the best sound out of it, when you go a bit above that, then you're really not getting as much of a good tone anyway. And like tone to me is more about playing than it is about gear. I know my entire channel is about gear, but I feel like anybody can make any, if you sound good enough and you worked as hard as possible on guitar, anybody can make anything sound great. There's a video by, hopefully I say his name right, Matthias I.A. Eklund, and he just plays a crappy Gorilla amp, practice amp that almost everybody has had in their entire life, and that thing is like $10 at best, and he makes that thing sound like the Bible of guitar amps because he's so good at guitar. But yeah, the Boss pedals, amazing. If anyone tells you otherwise, you know, just take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, Paul Henderson writes, that was my rant for this week. Anyway, Paul Henderson writes, wow, thanks. Okay, this was on Questions and Comments Thursday, number 11, Gojira guitar, blah, 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 blah. And he said, wow, thanks much due for reading my comment. My question, that really wasn't the question, so I'm even twice as surprised. I was like, I rarely ask you questions or more like you refer to your content or what you said, so that's unlikely you'd ever reach for my comments. Okay. Hopefully you guys can read this on screen too. Yeah, I'm not the best at reading. You made my day, man. Hope watching and listening to my part every day, and this one is gonna help me fight depression and procrastination. All the best. Thank you so much for coming and being a regular. I love seeing the regular people coming back to my channel. That's the biggest thing for me. I love seeing the same people coming back. It's what I prioritize now, because honestly, there's no point in making any videos if it's just random people coming all the time. I want to see, not fresh faces, but I want to see the same people. I want to like build something. I want to build like a nice community. I want to talk to regular people and have relationships with these regular people. And thank you so much for coming back. And it's my honor to answer these questions and make these videos. I'm eternally grateful to be able to even just make these videos and put them out there for people. And when it comes to depression and procrastination, my entire life has been depression and procrastination. And I can definitely feel anybody who has gone through a lot of these mental blockages, and it is hard. Even now when I'm making this video, I woke up not super motivated to make this video, but honestly, the videos that are the most popular on my channel, I never really felt like making. I just do the action. I tried, if making these videos were hinged upon my emotional state at the moment, there'd be no videos. There'd be like 3 videos at best. Ironically, the ones I'm the most passionate about are like the ones that do the worst for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I should just like hate every single video I do, and maybe it'll be super successful. But yeah, I can definitely feel you on the mental part. It's really tough, and it's very personal. There's so many different ways that depression and procrastination can come up in someone's life. It can be an emotional state. It can be psychological. It can be physiological, which was for me a big thing. Physiologically, there's so many deficiencies I've had in my life, like vitamin deficiencies and things like that, have really kept me back. And I've only started scratching the surface and actually making some good progress in this area of my life just to do these things. And you know, I'm pulling for you. You can do it. You get it going, man. Get it going. And if I can motivate anybody, if I can raise my vibration up high enough so that I can get people to actually take some action and improve their own lives, then that's what I'm here on this earth for, really. You know, I just want to live an authentic, high vibrational life and be the best version of myself and just help inspire other people. I don't really care too much about trying to compete or doing any of this stuff, because honestly, I'm just happy being the person I am, and I just want to be that person, and I want other people to be happy about being who they are as well. And okay, enough of this gobbledygook. Let's go to the next comment, and this one's from Nick. And he says, "Hey Dustin, I'm a beginner." Oh, this is on, is the Marshall MG10 a good practice amp? He says, "Hey Dustin, I am a beginner guitar player and I just bought a brand new Marshall MG10 amp, but when I turn the amp on, I'm constantly hearing some sort of buzzing noise coming out of it. When I strum a string, the buzzing goes away, but after that, the buzz comes back. I don't know anything about amps, so do you have any idea how to fix this, or if I'm doing something wrong? Thanks." Okay, this is, when it comes to amps, as long as you're not hearing the buzzing while you're playing the guitar, you're fine, because amps just naturally have buzz to them, especially if you're on the distortion channel. And especially if you have no noise gate or anything that will suppress the noise itself. And the Marshall MG has none of that stuff. So it's very common. And I remember when I was first starting to play guitar, I remember hearing that buzz and being very attuned to knowing that it was disappearing when I put my hand on the guitar itself. And that means it's grounding. When it means it's grounding, then the noise will go away and you're grounded right. If it's not grounded right, it's going to be buzzing through the entire time you're playing guitar. And from the looks of your comment, I don't think you have a problem. I think it's just the way the Marshall MG is. It's a very fizzy and very buzzy amp. And overall, that's all the comments for this week. And I thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below in the comments below. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and happy 2022.